have to record it. Output entertainment. Okay, so now let's take a look at this. Okay, oops. And now on this part of the model here, okay, so you don't have to build them in a single object. Like for example, this section can be separated, just separate it, make things a little easier. And also you don't have to do that much detail because at the end, when you render it out, it will be look like this, like the size. So no need to get a high detail on modeling. And so now I will not exactly show you how to do it. I'm gonna just talk about the concept of it. Like for example, I'm gonna start it to block it out. Always better to block out your model so that is fit better. Okay, so in let me think quick. That's transparency. Let me switch to that. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off temporarily. Maybe turn on just to get to see. So started with a cube polygon, no, cylindrical, and make it less resolution. So this would be 6. Just keep it 6 o'clock, 6. And now I'm gonna scale it longer, smaller, thinner. Okay, so if I turn that off, gonna move in location, and might be a good idea to use that as a reference. Here we go. So okay, and now let me maximize it. Okay. So better to be thicker. How about that? Here we go. Okay. Let me. Okay, referencing instead. So now I kind of try to get the overall size. Here we go. And then, so now when you want it to bend, see like that. Okay. So you kind of use extrude. Might be a, just select. I have a symmetry on. Let me turn symmetry off. Okay. So now I'm gonna just turn on move to, hold shift, extrude at some point, and changing angle. There we go. So just to follow that. Now, I think if I rotate like this, and then I would get a little bit better. Can you see right there? So there we go. And then I'm gonna select the face again. Now, when you do this way though, you might see that it might looks a little taper. So you might need to scale it a little bit. Just eyeballing it, doesn't have to be perfect. Oops. And then grab this face, subtract. Then we're gonna turn on move to again, and then you can extrude up or shift, extrude, and then move. There we go. Okay. So get to some point there. And let's look at on the real actual images. So it look like this, and then it will bend and has some kind of cap. Um, you could even separate this. You don't even have to build on this exactly same model. So I think I need to get started a little bit. So this time, I think I like that. I'm gonna choose actual extrusion. So that is extrude along the surface like that, not along the normal. Now, even though the direction is not quite what I wanted, we can fix them. If I go to edge, double click on this edge, turn on rotate and rotate it. Oops, oh, sorry. Let's undo quick. Rotate the face. There we go. So that it's kind of a, looks like a straight line like this. Now check this view. I think you might need to angle this to this direction like that. And so look like this now. Okay, I'm gonna scale it uniformly so that it doesn't look tapered. It's just because when you rotate, it's always give a look. It's always like, because in angle, it will looks like a squeeze. So it will lose a little size, little radius, basically. Now, shift right mouse click, extrude one more time. And this time you can move it like this way. Here we go. Now, the ideal is this. We want these to kind of bend down right here, this section. See that curve? So, but we don't really have to do it yet. We need to increase the division right here. So I increase quite, how about 4, so that I get full span. And then now you will right click and choose vertex and grab only the vertices that run along these loop, except on the base right there. You might need to switch to full so that you can see if you really select all the vertices that run on that loop. Now, you're gonna choose bend deformer. So I'm gonna switch my module to modeling, deform, nonlinear, and bend. So now the orientation of the bend is not correct yet. I mean, it's correct in terms of how it was created, but it's not the direction we wanted. So increase the curvature, some volumes. Don't need to worry about what volumes you use, just some of them, so that we can see the bend direction. Now I'm gonna switch to 4 again. So basically, I'm gonna rotate my bend to match. So line up like this way. Here we go. And look at on this direction. Can you see it's crooked? So I can turn like this until it started to look like it's not crooked anymore. Now you might need to look at on the top view so that you can see the line. Here we go, straight line. If I switch to 5, it will look like this. Now we need to remove, let me turn on transparency. We need to remove this section, the bend, but because I rotated, so now I don't really know this is a low bond or the high bond. So I'm gonna just make a guess. Let's 0 on low bond, see if it, oh, perfect. So that is the low bond. So now I'm gonna turn on move to, and I'm gonna slide it backward so that these middle half are line up to that base, just like that. Here we go. And this might be a little hard. You can go to switch the panel and go to top view so that the more orthographic. Now I can see a little better. So it's a little bit of crooked. I'm gonna move it right here. I'm checking on the line. I want the line to be parallel to that line. Here we go. So that the model doesn't kind of twist. Here we go. So this is good enough. Now switch to perspective again. So now look like this. Here we go. And I could bend more. So now when I bend more, I could go like this. So let's do 90-degree. Here we go. Now I have to move forward because it started to squish and fold it right here, right? So switch to top view one more time so that we can move it and checking until it's not fold. Here we go. I think might be right there. Let's go to the perspective again. Still. So I'm gonna move it more. How about just right there? And let's move it down so that it's kind of stretched. Move in a little bit. Here we go. Now, so I think this is good. Can you see? It kind of looked like it's coming down like that. Here we go. And let's check on top view again one more time. I still feel like it's a little crooked right there. So, here we go. Rotate y-axis is 0. And I think this one, let me try 0. Oh, no, doesn't work. So it has to be, how about 26, 27, 27.5. I want it to line up. And right here, let's do minus 90. That's perfect. Can you see? So basically you just have to play around with the volumes of the rotation on the deformer. So I think this is good. Now I can turn off transparency. So it look like this. Here we go. And now I can add another cylindrical to fake this shape, that shape, the cap. Or maybe you don't even need that. Now, this section though is going to be too difficult if you make it one single piece. I think we should build only this section, and we don't even need to get that angle cut detail. We could just do like what we did with the top one. So now how to do that? I'm going to create a new cylindrical, and I'm going to move that in location. And you could change the pivot point, press D, and then hold V key and grab the center so that is centered on the vertex like this. The reason is so that you can hold V key and then try to snap the vertex to just get started quickly. Changing the subdivision axis to 6, so that is matched. And now you need to leave the cap on this time because if you don't, you're gonna have to cut them later. So it's okay to have triangle on the what do you call on the not complex a cylindrical shape. So now the radius, I'm gonna reduce it. You can do scale too, but this time I'm gonna try to use radius. There's a reason for that because I wanted to make sure that I can change the division without distort the surface. Because sometimes when you modify the object or the component of the object, you cannot go back and alter the default parameter. So now I think I'm gonna just make it like kind of like that. I mean, if you like, you could even do like this. If you switch to full, there's a center vertices on this section, right? So we could hold V key and let it snap to the center. Here we go. And then I'm gonna press 5 back. So now they kind of center it. Okay. And I don't think that you really need to make them match perfectly. Let's do put. I want it to have a little bigger because it's gonna be far away. Oh, it's actually matched. Sorry guys, so we can't. Okay. Because it doesn't look right. Here we go. And I'm gonna change orientation a little bit, rotate so that the angle kind of match. Here we go. Okay. And obviously, I'm gonna have to go back to this model that need to be more flat on the bottom. Here we go. So it's mean I'm gonna have to lower that down a little bit and increase the curvature. Oh, somehow it's not 90. So probably gonna have to be more. Okay. I want it to be more straight down. Now, save your scene. Let me save into number 8. Okay. So at this moment, I'm gonna feed transform this guy. Hold on, don't feed it yet. Sorry. We have to remove this deformer. So delete history, edit, delete by type. Make sure you, before you delete history, save as, so that if you change your mind, you can go back to the previous version. The reason that we need to delete because it's going to be harder when we try to edit the component of it. And now what I'm trying to do is that I want this section to be flat. So I'm going to use scale 2 and scale it flat like this. Scale only one direction. Here we go. So now it's really flat. So, and that's perfect. So this guy, after I rotate it, got to rotate a little more. So probably minus 28 or even 27. But, and I can reduce this to 0.38, 0.35. 0.35 too small. So have to be 0.36. Now your volumes might be different than my 0.365. That's about similar. And I'm gonna move it down. Here we go. So now look like this. So I'm gonna bend this guy. So basically, let's look at on the image again, how it's bent. Oh, it just bend it more, and then we can rotate it anywhere. So use deformer, bent deformer again, nonlinear bend. And I'm gonna switch to 4 so that I can see. This time it's line up straight line, which is perfect. Go to curvature, and I could do this way. So let's do minus 90. Here we go. And then now this is high bond because we haven't rotated them. So I'm gonna remove the high bond to 0. And then I'm gonna turn on move to and move this up. So it look like this. There we go. And I think I can move a little more, maybe like that. Okay. Now, if you want the angle to be a little more sharper, let me see. Here we go. Now, this is a really sharp cut. We don't have to do that because it's going to be far away. So you could do scale. Let me turn on transparency also. When you scale it down, can you see? It's the bend is shrink. So it's cover only a few um, a few loop. That's why it looked like this. And you see, so I can get quite a bit sharp there. And if you feel like you don't have enough area on the top, which actually that's enough. Here we go. So it's really shallow. So that's good. So now what we can do at the end, if you increase your high bond, can you see? It will you be able to have more control. So I want it to be straight line. So actually 0.1 is good. So this is, let's do minus 90. Here we go. And I think that's good. Now, if you wanted to change the direction because it's a little going another way, right? So basically you just rotate like this. And then it will come. Here we go. Now, if this is too big, too tall, we can shrink it down. So let's take a look at, see how it look. I think that's good. Doesn't have to be matched exactly. This is good enough. So we're gonna turn on a um, transparency. Now I can make this size a little smaller. It's just because when you're changing the angle, can you see it is this part is become a little more kind of shrinkish. Um, you could extend it by grabbing this edge loop. Now we're gonna use scale 2. However, we're gonna have to change the pivot point of this scale to right there. So, and also we wanted to scale custom orientation. We want it to be a direction of this loop. So I'm gonna hold R key, left mouse button, axis, custom, and we need to set to edge and use this direction. Here we go. Now, press D one more time, hold V key and grab only that Y axis. Let it snap to the end here, right there, that vertex. Press D again.
I'm sorry, what button did you hold down? R?
Um, R with left mouse button. So if you hold R key, because R is a shortcut for scale, and then left mouse button, axis, custom, set to edge. Okay. And
Okay,
after
thank you.
you, yep, after you set to edge, press D to custom the pivot again, and then hold V key and move only Y axis, not the other when you press D. The reason is you force into only one trajectory, but you want it to snap to that vertex. So hold V key at the same time. And then when you press D to toggle off, you'll be able to scale like this. I'm gonna scale only Y direction because I wanted to extend it. Here we go. So now it's not exactly what I wanted because I wanted to change the angle a little bit, switch to rotate. So press E and then it still carry the same orientation. Here we go. I wanted to go 45-degree and then press R again and scale it down. There we go. Not perfect, but and rotate again, scale again, rotate one more. Ah, too much. Let me rotate like this and then scale. So take a little bit of time. Oh no, I think I scaled too far. Let me scale again. Oh, rotate first. That's, oh, almost. I just wanted to have a little larger on this section. So let me scale one more time. Rotate again. I think that's it. Now, This section, I feel like it was a little larger. So what we can do is we can turn on vertex and grab those vertices. Now we need to change the pivot point to regular custom orientation. So hold D key and then just move cursor or outside. It has the word reset. Click on it, it will reset. And then switch back, turn on scale 2 again. Here we go. Now it looked like this. And at this moment, I still kind of wanted to orient it to that phase. So, well, let's do R key, left mouse button, axis, custom, set to phase, and let's set to this phase. Here we go. So now basically I wanted to scale uniform like this way. However, these are straight line, right? We do not need those vertices at all. So what we can do, we can get off from that scale mode for a moment, go to edge, double click, and delete, shift, delete. Here we go. So that when we come back to vertex again, select those, I can scale this and it will shrink them. So I want it to be straight line. Look at on the line so that it looks straight. That's it. So it may take a little bit of time when you do it on your own on the other part of it, but that's what the technique is, all of this. Now the longer part there, you're gonna have to use bent deformer to bend them. Same thing right here. Now you don't really have to make them look, this looks like an ellipse shape. You could just make it circle and that's it. Now on this section, you can reuse that part. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, you can actually. Right, you can reuse it. Don't need to build it again. Just Control D and then move this. Um, change the pivot point, press D, reset it. Here we go. Oh, press D and reset. Come on. Doesn't let me reset it. So I can go to press D again. If it doesn't let you reset, just shift, go to object space. Here we go. Oh, not shift, sorry. Using a move to W key with left mouse so that you can pick object space. I can control D and then I can move it. And then you can just reorient it to anywhere you want it to be. So I think on this one is kind of reverse it. So it's mean like this. Here we go. And I'm gonna move. You can switch to workspace too. So I think this might be incorrect angle. Might have to be like, oh, I forgot. Um, I have to delete history. The reason is they still have that. Can you see that? The deformer. So select, I have double object on top of each other too. Let me delete one. Here we go. Good. So select, edit, delete by type, history. Oop, Control Shift D, here we go. So now I should be able to rotate it any way I want it. So I think, here we go. And this one I'm gonna move that later. Let's get another cylindrical. Save again. And then I'm gonna go to create. Oh, sorry, what am I doing? Go to cylindrical. And this time we already know 6 and radius is 0.36 or 7. I don't remember. I thought I know, but I don't. So now I'm gonna just shift click here and choose modify match translate so that it pops right there. Turn that off. Here we go. And then I'm gonna rotate it. Let's do 90-degree. And basically I'm gonna have to make this longer. Might be a good idea, guys, before we make that longer, change the pivot point to that center. Press, turn on move to, press D, hold V key and grab that, let it snap to the tip here. Okay, so now look like that. So now I can scale it, non-uniform. There we go. And I'm gonna relocate, reposition. That's probably too long, of course. Here we go. And now I'm gonna have to move these. I think my problem is right here is too far or too long. So I'm gonna grab that and I'm gonna move it backward. Here we go. Okay. And then move this guy in. And then change that orientation. Let's look at on top view better. Here we go. So line up with that. These are too thick. 0.35. 0.35. And I pressed 3 by accident. Here we go. Okay. And then I'm gonna have to move it down. Move that back. All right. Move this down. Here we go. Okay. And actually this might be the orientation. Oh, that one is a little taller. Yeah. So let me move it up. Kind of like that. This guy up. That one go up higher. And I think it might even have, it shouldn't be, well, I think it's just too far. Here we go. You got an idea. And that one can come down. I don't know if that's the right angle. That's close enough, I think. I think so. And I might need to move this vertex, even though it should be straight line, but it's okay. Just move it. And then that one will come right somewhere there. And you might need to bend this section, oh, this bar. See if I do that. Now that's a little weird looking. It seems like even longer, taller. This might be too tall here. Like I might have to grab these vertices and make it shorter. So now on this section, let me think which one it would be the best to do it. Let me zoom in. Oh, it's kind of really overlap, connect a little bit. So in that case, you could just fake it like so. Okay, I'm gonna have to make that longer. Just like that. That's good enough. And then here we go. So here we go. Something like that. And then the rest, just take your time. Now, on this part, there's another thick kind of the base, because I remember, if you remember when you went to see dentist, talking about that, I have to go to see dentist again. This section, there's a, what do you call that? There's a wash bowl, right? And these are faucet. You don't have to build this, it's too small. Um, so that you can kind of wash your mouth, rinse your blood from your teeth on that. So that will be just a big, you can create a large box, like a cube. I'm gonna just match, translate to there for a moment. And then I'm gonna hold, change the pivot point, hold D key, press D, hold V, and then grab that just to there. There we go. And you're gonna put this to the wall, to the floor. Here we go, right there. Changing orientation, scale it. So that they kind of appear to be like this, right? So if I switch to, here we go. So it look like that. Relocate a little bit right here. Okay. And then I'm gonna scale. Let's check the image again. So we don't really see that actually. So how about just right here? Okay. I think this, let me look at on the image. This part has to be lower because mine is a little, or I can rework on this section to be wider and taller. Actually, when I look at it, this section are too high right here, so need to be a little lower. So I'm not going to fix them, uh, but you got an idea. So now this is how it look, and then I think, here we go. Okay, so any questions so far, guys? And just go ahead, get that part done by yourself. Now, I'm gonna talk about how to build the tool, the hose. So let me save this file. Now to build the hose, we need to use extrude along the surface. This section, let me talk about this quick. There we go. So right here, you just build separate surface, separate, separate, separate. These are kind of a, what do you call, like a counter to put some tool, I think. But then this part can be like a rotated right here, so that can move it away. So it's attached with the bar. Now, when you build, you could just build this box separate. These can be separate, 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 so that you can just kind of overlay on top because it's farther away. We can't really see the detail. So there's no point to get into too much detail of geometry. Um, Now, this section though, you need to build separate because if you don't build separate, it will be really hard to get it right. So now, how can we build this? Okay, we'll do this together in the host. So now on the host though, let me switch back. Here we go. Turn that off. Okay, so the host, let me save this. Don't do anything yet. Just watch. Okay. So now I can use cylindrical again. Let me do 6. So this is just a concept of it. Okay. So I'm gonna make that longer. Here we go. So that will be, let's say it will be a 2. Will be a 2. Now to build the hose, we can extrude the surface along the curve. Now, to do that, when you draw the curve, you need to draw it on orthographic views. Okay, you you don't want it to draw it on the perspective. So under curve tab, there's a EP curve 2 there. If you double click on it, there's a linear, cubic, and Bezier. So you just need to use cubic. Just click OK. So now if I draw on perspective, it will go to the base on the floor. Can you see? It will try to go to on the grid. So now you should draw it on orthographic. Doesn't matter which orthographic you draw. No, it does matter. If you want it to be vertical, you need to draw on font and side. If you want it to be horizontal, you draw on the top view. So now I can do like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And don't do too many, just about enough. So right now I can go to right click, go to control vertex. And if I turn off, and it has control vertex. Control vertex is different than vertices. It's a combination of the vertices with hole. And the hole is right here. Okay. These happen with only curved surface, curved object. So now you can go to different view. See, I can grab that and change the location. And if I want it to be quick, looks like it's dropped to the floor and then what do you call it, like a circular looking. You could do that too. So I'm gonna let me grab these, turn on scale, and then make them looks like it flat to the floor. So now after that, I'm gonna look at on top view, grab it from the top. Now, when you work with, oh, that's right there. That's the line here. So I'm gonna create. I'm gonna make it looks like it's has a gravity. Drop it to the ground. So this one need to be straight line. There we go. So it look like this. Now go to top view there. I think this one. Now, when you work with the EP, it's called CV curve 2, but this is called EP curve 2. The reason is allow you to insert the CV curve based on the edit point. So they are different. So now, when you work on the curve, make sure you click on the component selection here. I like you to turn on both CV. If you right click, can you see there are multiple properties? So NURB CV is one of them. And then turn on, if you right click, there's NURBS halts. Turn this on. There's a reason, because sometimes you might accidentally moving vertices overlap the other, because it's based on the order of the information. It has a beginning and the end curve. So when you have a halt, it's kind of help you to indicate where you are at. So I'm gonna put that right here. Okay, I'm gonna grab that. So I'm gonna make it looks like it's kind of, you know, falling on the ground like a wrapping. Oh, I'm moving the wrong section. That one on the top. Right here. I need to move this line, not that line. Okay, so grab that. It's hard to tell. Here we go. And that one can be backward. So I wanted to make the shape looks like it's kind of drop on the floor. Here we go. Here we go. See something like that. And I think this one need to go back right here. This can come down a little more. Here we go. So it looked like this. So now, how can we get the surface to follow that? Well, create, I'm gonna reuse this. Control D to duplicate it, scale it, and move it down. Scale, make it smaller to pretend to be like a tube. There we go. And basically, Maya will, when we extrude, Maya will capture only the face that we have selected. So I'm gonna press F. Here we go. So now what we need though is always better if the curve are lined up to the center of that object. So I'm gonna, let's move this up a little bit. Let's make it looks like an overlapping. There we go. Now I'm gonna grab that CV again, curve, turn on component selection, grab that, and then I'm gonna move it down. Now you could hold V key and let it snap to that center. There we go. And then right click, go to object mode. Now we are ready. So at this point, you need to deselect everything. Right click on this surface. It has to be right click, choose face, and pick. I'm gonna use selection tool, hold shift and pick all of those faces. And then you can do shift, select the curve. Okay. Now remember one thing, I'm gonna deselect it. If I select this object and then you are still on this selection component. Now the problem with this is if I shift select the curve, it will select the component of the curve, which this extrude along the curve function will not be performed. So just remember, the reason that I need to mention this because I make you do this when you edit curve. You may forgot to turn it off. To turn it off, just switch back to select by object, select object type. This is select by component type, select by object type. So it need to be on object mode, basically. Now, right click, don't select, just right click right on the surface you want. Now, if you have a hard time to right click on this surface because of that, you need to temporarily move this away first. That's how you deal with it, okay? And then you move it back. So I'm gonna deselect, right click, choose face. There we go. And then shift select that curve. Now You can shift right mouse click and extrude face. Let's open up option. I need to explain something a little bit. Now, these will work because of curve setting set to selected. So it means selected curve. So now when I click extrude, it will perform this. Now it will not look correctly yet. Can you see? Because it doesn't follow that curve. The reason is because of the geometry doesn't have enough segment. It can't be bended. So division, increase it until it's go to the way you want it. Now look like this. Here we go. Now you might experiment with a little lower, see if still give that look. It does not. Look at that. That started to mess up. So I really have to give it higher. Now it's a little messed up there because I thought that, hold on, undo. I select more face than I thought. Once again, I forgot to check. Can you see right there? Make sure do not select that. Switch to full. Here we go. So now shift select, extrude again. And this time it should work. Oh, not offset, division. Here we go. Now, if you can't increase anymore, you can override it by typing in 30. I want that to be a little nicer. So I'm gonna do, how about 40? Here we go. So now it's getting a little better on the tip. Now, when you're done, I mean, you still can edit some curve if you go to object mode and switch to 4. The curve is right. The curve is right inside. See, it's really hard to see. Here we go. It's right there. I mean, you can look at on your outliner to see that curve. Now, if I go to selection by component again, I can grab that curve and then I can modify my shape. Here we go. See? And then when you're done, you go back to object mode. Now, when you're done, you just select it and then delete by type. Alt Shift D. And after you delete by type, the curve's still there, but there's no effect anymore. Because if I go back to there and I move this, can you see there's no effect on the surface anymore because I delete history. So it's mean you can either delete this curve or back it up into a new layers and hide it. Oops, need to be on object mode. And here we go. So now, these might be too dense on the curve. You could optimize them in some area. Let me undo quick. Let me undo before I modify them. Here we go. If it's straight line like that, I'm gonna select the object mode. Delete by type. Delete history. And then the curve still in there. If I move it out, it's right there, right? So I'm gonna switch to full and grab the curve and then hit delete. So now when we look at this model, the shape, there's an unnecessary geometry that we can remove. Like for example, because if you see a straight line, you can remove them. Make sure you remove the whole loop so that won't be too crazy. However, I mean, on this project, you don't really have to do that. You can just leave it there because it's just a few holes. It doesn't really cost things much. Now, when you press 3, you still need to do stop continuity. So I'm gonna press 1 back. What I'm gonna do is on the hose right here, I'm gonna extrude it. I'm gonna give a little thickness. There we go. Okay. So now when I press 2, I can start it to do multi-cut. And now if multi-cut doesn't work, change to, it just sometimes does that. There we go. Let me feed transform, delete history. There we go. Save help. Now what? Try again. Multi-cut control. Now it's work. Here we go. Okay. So any questions about making the tool? Now on this section, let's say if you want a little more pointy, so you can extrude it, move it up. Now you can scale it down, or you can just grab this. There we go. And I could extrude this. There we go. You know, something like that. Doesn't have to be high detail, just to indicate it. And then you can reuse it by duplicate them and just edit the appearance. So you could duplicate, make it flatter, something like that. Just something. Yeah. Any questions, guys? And like this part, you could separate them too. Okay. So now when we go back to our project here. So this section, that part of the model, okay. What we can do on this is we can use a slender to cut through it. And then we remove some surface here. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna create, let's kind of blocking it out first. So I'm gonna move that. Let's see if it's the right location. Make it a little longer box. So we're gonna switch that. Here we go. So, and rotate it, changing angle, make it thinner. There we go. And make sure you check the actual image outside. So it's a little taper, right? Right here. Is it? It's kind of it has a lot of illusion onto it. So I think it's kind of like this. Just only one side like that. So don't phase transform them. The reason is so that we get the original orientation. And when you are on, if you go to move to and you switch to object mode, it will line up perfectly. So I'm gonna do something like that. Now I need to check the division. So what you want is you want one division, and this will be the center of that division. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 division. Now I already moving the component. Let me undo the component quick. Here we go. The reason is when you come here, you can add, this is X direction, so is the width. So width division, 1, 2, here we go, 4. So we need 4. And then we're gonna need a middle division in there, which we will use middle mouse cut instead. We can try 4. Let's see if 4 will give that division. Oh, 8, sorry. Yeah, we can do 8. So that we have half of them there, right? And then we need, the reason that I do that because of this shape, that what I wanted to do. Oh, not edit. How did I go? Draw. So let me change the color. So basically the shape, if you look at on the top, will look like this, right? And if we have 1, 2, 4. And then we have the middle. Oops, hold on. Let me change different color. This is the concept. Okay, so here we go. Why don't I use this? And then because it's gonna have a circle inside there, right? Like circle, circle. So we kind of want that line to be a kind of a in the middle, right here in the middle. So now we want another segment to be right here in the middle. I didn't do it well, but you get an idea, right? So this means we need one extra line there. Okay. So that would be if you turn on move to Z direction. So it's depth. Depth is C. Here we go. So it looked like this. Okay. Now, before so I could kind of started to form this shape. Let me look. So it's mean that part need to come. Here we go. So I could squeeze a little more closer. Let's do that. Okay. Okay, something like that. Now, we're gonna use the cylindrical to punch in. So create a new cylindrical and change to 6 corner again. And now the height, and we do it after. So let's line up with, let's match orientation and position. So you match all. No scale, sorry. So just match, modify, translate. That's translate, modify, match, rotation. Here we go. So now grab this. You can just scale it down into the size you want it. And change the pivot point to the center of that vertex. So press D, hold V, and snap it there. Press D. Now, when you do this, you could also hold V key and snap to vertex, the center. It will line up like that. So I have to do it correctly. I have to come here first, hold V, let it snap to that. Here we go. Why my shape, it looks skewed. Did I scale? Hold on, I did scales. Oh, here we go. Polysphere rotate, that's good. So let's hold V key and grab that. That's, am I just, my eyes, I think it's just the illusion of the perspective. Okay, so now I'm gonna have to scale it down to be a similar size as that. I didn't rotate this well at all. Can you see? Does it match? Oh, it does. Yeah, it's just my eyes are going nuts. Let's look how big the hole is. Okay. It's pretty small, so scale it down more uniformly. Here we go. Like that. And it's kind of actually little lean forward. So let's slide this loop. Slide edge and move it forward. How about right there? Okay. So now I'm gonna go back and realign this. Hold V again. Here we go. And then I think No, got to be a little bigger. Here we go. So now I can duplicate this. Control D, hold V key, make sure switch to move, hold V key, and then let's snap right there. Now, now we can do, if you remember, duplicate with transform. Here we go. Shift D and done. I forgot. We need to make this guy a longer because we're gonna cut it. So, well, you're gonna have to do twice now. Full time. Just make sure don't freeze transform. That's all. Here we go. Okay. So now we can cut the hole to punch that hole. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select all. Oh, you have to do one by one. Let's save this. Let's back this up because we might need this. So Control D and then put into a layers, and then you can call temp or something like that. Just in case if we do something wrong, we can come back and reuse that again. Like for example, if I delete that, see when I bring it back, it's right there. So I can select Control D, right click, remove that, then hide that. Okay, so now freeze transform at this point. So modify. So it's mean before you do the Boolean, make sure you block it out without Boolean them, freeze transform them until you get what you want first. And then you continue to, and then you do this process. Now, the other thing is, I think it's better idea to, let's build that box shape before we started to do Boolean. Put that in location. Here we go. Okay. So that we know how tall this guy would be. So change the right angle. And I think, and you don't need to merge them, just stick them like that. It's okay. Because when it's further away, can't really tell. Okay. You may have to form some shape, some point. Let me see. They're going that way and come down here. Okay. So seems like I make that a little too thin. This one too small. Change pivot point again. Right there. Here we go. Right there. And here we go. Something like that. Let's look at the shape again. It's actually slanting. So grab that, move it like this. There we go. And I feel like I probably didn't do a good job on this guy. The orientation is incorrect. I'm gonna group all of them together. Oh, right there. I should have built this first. This right away, yeah. And then Control G, edit group, Control G, center pivot first. There you go. And then change the pivot point to one corner there. These are on group node. So hold V key, maybe right there. D. So These are on the group node because we don't want to edit changing location individually. And here we are. I think it's a need to be a little bit bigger. And now it has to be a little thicker too. So the thicker got to go back to this part. And here we are. Make it longer. So now this part are not matched anymore. The reason that we should try to match the line because after we boolean it, so that the cleanup will make will be a little easier to do cleanup. So now let's pretend I like it, okay, to shorten the lecture. So pretend that this is what I wanted. So now let's ungroup it because we use that group node to help us to relocation. So you do one by one. Select, shift select, select the one that you wanted to punch in. And then you go to shift right mouse, click and choose Boolean. And we want a different. Here we go. Now, I think is, hold on. What did I select in the right order? 1, 2, Boolean, different. Oh, so need to be big one first, small one after. Boolean, different. Here we go. Sorry, select the target first and then select the object you want to keep. So actually, these part are too right here, too far. Should be something like that. Okay. And this is probably has to be a little closer. Okay. So now do it again. Select the big one, shift select, Boolean, and choose different. Here we go. Now, hey guys, sometimes it may crash. You need to delete history because if there are too many Boolean on the stack, it might cause the problem. Control Shift D, no, Alt Shift D to delete history and Shift select. So select the big one first, select the small one to cut. Now Control Shift D, select, and then Boolean, different. Here we go, cut. Now we need to do cleanup. After you do that, make sure clean up with face with more than 4 sides. Apply. Let Maya does it for you. So now we need to do a little work on opening. So right there, I'm gonna select the faces, not that the bottom, just only in the between there. I think. So this one need to be realigned a little bit because I can't cut them. Can you see? So I'm gonna grab that and then spin it. If you remember these two, spin, I'm gonna tear it off. So I want that to spin to this direction. You can delete and cut too. Here we go. Can you see? So now it's matched with the top. So now when I delete, hit delete. Here we go. And we need to actually split this part right there. So in this case, we can use select vertex, and we can I think there was a tool called split. Well, I don't remember on this. What we can do though, is it collapse connect? Hold on guys, one moment. Let's do chamfer. No, Everest reorder is split flip triangle. Hmm. I thought there was a split. Oh, oh no, that's split mesh. I thought there was a tool called splitting mesh, vertex. So I don't think there is. Okay, what we need to do on this section is, because when you look at this part, this is what I wanted to build right there. So now this section seems good. You know what? We can do like this. If we delete that, there we go. And then we grab that oh, this might be better. We select that, extrude edge, and then extrude it. You might need to switch to workspace. Here we go. Okay. And then we append it. Go to object, append, and click append. Here we go. So we click run there and here. Press Y to repeat the two. Fill that. Fill this. Here we go. And then I can clean that part. So because we can have four corner right there. Here we go. So it look like this. Now, I mean, you don't I mean, if you clean it up, this will looks better. So right now, here we go. When you press 3, so this can go. Here we go. Can you see? Okay, now there's guys, a unnecessary line there. Image. There. That's the correct way. Oh no. Oh yeah, we can delete it. There we go. Right here. And so now this part though, that it's cut inside, there's a little there. Issue. Can you see? You don't need to build this detail because when it's far right away, there. We work on it. I mean, you can do another way too. Like if you don't want to delete it, you grab all the vertices, right? This corner, and then you go to edit mesh, merge, and turn this off. So that is merged more than 2 vertices, and then you increase it. Here we go. So I grab that, merge. This might be easier, might be quicker. It will be quicker. Okay. So now if I press 3 to see how it look, the reason that we need to clean a little bit because when we press 3, if we have a lot of triangle, it will be hard to do a stop continuity. So let's clean this up first. So vertex, merge, vertex, leave that open because you might need to have a little higher. So, and just merge on each corner. So now this part, I need to do a pen. Oh no. Ah. Merge. Oh, it's already there. Hold on, let me go back to, what did I select? One moment. I tried to get rid of that. I don't remember what I did. It's just a display problem. That's it's not a display problem. It's just a display function that allow to see the dot edge. So I'm gonna figure it out later. So oh, come on. I wanted to do append delete history. I think it's started to act up. So append. Here we go. Okay. So you need to keep going to fix, delete some edges and fix some corner. And right there, I'm gonna have to be merged. Press G now. Press G. We already know that need to be merged there on each corner because it has more than 3. Ignore that dash line on me. Press G. Just repeat the merge to G and G. What time is it? Okay, we're still doing good. G. Okay, so now I'm gonna remove and this part it has to move backward like that, right? Based on the image. Look like that. See, like that. Kind of slant. Okay. And actually the circle is a little closer, but it's okay. It's because it's gonna be further away. It's gonna hard to tell. So now let's stop continuity on this section. So um, on this part right here, I need to flipping, match, flip. Here we go. So let's flip that area first. Oh, that's correct. This guy. Here we go. So basically look at on triangle, like a pointy arrow. Here we go. That one. So that we can delete that section. And you could do this one and then you could do like duplicate and move it and merge them too. However, I am not going to show you that because it's these ways. I know it seems tedious, but it's a lot easier. Here we go. So 3, good. So now I can delete that and do exactly same technique as there. Can it go to phase there? Yeah. Come on. Switch to 4. Missing one phase. I can delete it again. Okay. And then we that one. This time I'm gonna get rid of this phase. Here we go. And then extrude that instead. You can just turn on move to, hold shift and drag straight line. Here we go. Oh, not good. Okay, so don't do that. Let's do shift right mouse click extrude edge and let that's much better. Here we go. So now I can delete that edges. There we go. And then go to object mode, append. Then let's append from there to here. Press Y and then there to there. And there to there. And then press Y again and fill this section. This section is, this one become full, which is good. So, am I do it right? Yeah. So it means this guy actually moving this direction. Here we go. It's kind of like this, I think. Yeah, because this section is allow you to slide the cord and then drop, slide the cord and then drop the pin or the two pin down. So the rest of them you do it on your own. So now when I press 3, let's press 2. Okay, so multi-cut, gonna cut loop like this. Now it stopped loop like that because can you see it doesn't go around because of triangle. So I'm gonna press go back to 1, remove the triangle, delete. So it will loop only with 4 corner if you remember. There we go. And actually this guy can go away. Actually the whole thing can go away too because we don't need those division anymore. There we go. We want that division just to split them nicer. That's to distribute what do you call equally basically. Here we go. And I think this is good. So that one can go too. This one we can leave it there. And what else? That one can go there. These can go. So this has to be 3 is okay. So we are not going to uh, do anything on the top. And this section I move it not right. Can you see? So I might have to do shift right mouse, W, assets, custom, and let's set to face and pick that face so that I can move like this. There we go. Oh, okay. Am I do it right? Oh no, hold on. It's already crooked badly. So um, shift W, exit, custom edge. Let's do with that edge so that we can line up them properly. That's better. Just making a mistake. Okay, so now I can multi-cut. Now it's go, it doesn't go that way because I have to, can you see it has that. So let me undo quick. Let's merge vertices again. Grab that and merge, open up option, apply. Here we go. G, I'm gonna have to do all the way. Okay, see if it works. Okay, so you don't multi-cut yet. You cut until you get all 4 done. But this is example, so I'm gonna just do it. Here we go. And can you see you got that a little sharper now? So now on this section, this might have a problem if you wanted to cut like this. The reason is this part would not be correct. So what you need to do is on that area right here, you use extrude instead. You extrude after you cut that horizontal. So select that, extrude face and offset. So offset a little. Here we go. So when you offset, make sure that these lines are not overlap. That's all. And then now it looks okay now. So you can do the same thing with this section in the other section. Okay. Any questions, guys, about building this part? Okay. So now on this section is the same concept. This one should be easier because it's only one unit right there. So you can do the same thing with punching hole. And then after you're done, you just stick that in. So your model might be like this, like the overall shape might look like this, right? Has open and then it's long. Okay. But when you dip that inside this base, so it will appear to be cut like this. You don't have to really sculpt them. Just that's it. Any questions, guys? I think that's it for now. And now on this Friday, I will be in and out. So I will check. I cannot turn on Zoom uh, to Zoom. So if you email me and then I will get off from that midpoint review and then help you on um, and then you can come into the classroom. So the classroom will be closed. I mean the Zoom classroom because I am on another Zoom. But if you email me, I'll check email like because I'm gonna be just here in my office like like uh the whole day because it's a whole day event. Okay. So safe. Any questions, guys? So work day on Friday. And now next Monday, this coming Monday is a holiday for us. Do you know that?
Yep. Spending it with my family.
So I stopped sharing now. So basically, oh wait, let me share it back again so that I can go to okay. So on March 15. Now the critique will be on 17. I think um we hey guys on Friday I will give you a video about lighting, and the composition is exactly same technique as you do project one. Okay, so I will do that video and give it to you. So on Friday will be a video that you can watch on your own time and just follow it. So just remember the due date is on the critique is May 17. Do, let me check the schedule again. Maybe 17. Do you guys want me to extend until Friday of 19?
Yes.
So let's do that. So that I give you a little more time. So it'll be 19 instead. So let me change the due date on the submission. It'll be 19, not 17. Okay. So where's that? Oh, project submission. Okay. So I'll change to 19 so that you get a little more time. Okay. So make sure you get it done on 19th. Okay. And so at the meantime, on Wednesday will be work day. So I'll be in Zoom again and you guys can come to class if you need help. So once again, on Friday, there will be a video of lighting. Okay. Any questions, guys?
Will you be taking roll Friday or Wednesday since they're work days?